Sorry for the delay, you guys. Hold on. Okay, now we're good. So let me move you over here. Okay, we platinum. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, now let me go back to share the screen. All right, there we go. That's there. And that's there. All right, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a great day and hopefully everything is going well for you. We are going to go kind of quickly because my wife's not feeling too well today, so I'm going to go take care of her. Make sure you have questions, which by the way, somebody had asked a question um, about whether to start with the sexy analyst simplicity system and my suggestion to you, I would actually go with the ocean wave first. Okay. I would go with the ocean wave first. Let me show you what I mean. Mm. And let me give you guys, get a pen because I was working on this last night. I've been on working on this for a long time, trying to figure out, okay, if I had to start all over again, what system would I start with and what pairs, right? So write this down, you guys. I'm gonna hit you right off the top with some notes. And if you it's one more sound test. If you can see me, hear me, and see my screen, type in number 3 in the box. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay. And in fact, those who have the ocean wave starting next week, just focus on these. Okay, just focus on these pairs. All right. The main ones, and then you can blend these and play around with it. But because in fact, I think I'm going to start another prop account and just trade these only. And then I'll go through them real quick. We're just going to jump right in. Number one, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. Number two, please make sure that when we get to the question and answer period, that your background noise is under control because this is being recorded for playback and they do want to hear your question and my answer. And they can't do that if there's too much background noise. So if you have a question and you're at work or somewhere noisy, just step out, ask your question, and then go ahead back on mute. Okay. Number three, please make sure that when you're trading that you use disposable income. Disposable income simply means just that. It is disposable. So therefore, you paid your bills on time, you have money left over, so you want to start a small account, that's cool, but don't use bill money to start trading with, okay? Especially with these wild markets. They've been pretty wild this week. Very, very volatile. And I told you guys it would be like that because there was a lot of news this week. So there's a lot of volatility. So you're going to have uncertain weeks. So, like I said, you just want to use money that whether you win or lose, it's like going to have a good time in the casino. Okay. Won't hurt the family. All right. And if there's anybody private message you saying, hey, I'm Uncle P, Donna, Elvis, Miss Jenny, Nancy, or any of my other people who work behind the scenes who, saying, oh, I'm on behalf of Uncle P. Let me send me your Bitcoin and crypto. It's typically always that too. Crypto, send me just some crypto. Why? Because it can't be tracked. Well, it can, but you have to be at a federal level and know some people to be able to go back and track that. But the point is that it's untraceable, so they can get you, and then so just don't do it. Okay. If there's anything going on, you can ask me first, or normally I will put out a video saying, "Hey, this is what we got going on." Okay. All right. So here's the pairs. JPY pairs would be a yes. So I would trade the JPY pairs. Okay. All JPY pairs up until midweek. All right. But for most part, they trend very well. They do trend very well with the ocean wave. Okay. And you can go through there. Like I said, you can see here. This is just AUD JPY for one. Okay. So they do trend pretty well until midweek. And when midweek happens, then you look for reversals. And basically you can get out of the trade at that point. So the JPY pairs are good. AUDNZD. AUDNZD. Put this on your list. I'm actually now it's bottoming out, and let me show you what I mean. I can't wait for this thing to turn around. Okay. See, it has long trends. This is what I like. Long trends. Very smooth, easy, long trends. AUD, NZD. Put that one on your radar, please. See, very long trends. Okay. All CHF pairs. CHF pairs. And I made a mistake thinking, okay, I found a good setup thinking it was going to pull back, and that thing just kept on going this week. So I got, which is okay. But I was slapping myself saying, oh my gosh, terrible, terrible pair for reversals. Okay. Tried my little luck at it because I saw some really, really nice setups. And nevertheless, look what it did. It kept with its regular routine. So AUD, I'm sorry, yeah, AUD, NZD, all CHF pairs, JPY pairs, and EG, Euro pound. Okay. Euro pound. Okay. Can somebody type that out for me? I want to make sure you guys got that. Euro pound or Euro GBP, AUD NZD, all CHF pairs. You can trade the JPY. And also for indices, I would look at trading the US 30. Okay. But you can check which one works best for you. Okay. And you can even check it on the 5 minute. See, for those who like to scout, let me unlock it. See, have nice moves. Okay. But you can play around with it. Thank you guys for typing. Yeah, good. Okay. So Ocean Wave would be the first one I would start with. And I will wait for these pairs to set up. Okay. And once they set up now, I will tell you this. The reason why I switched up is because this market has been so unpredictably volatile lately. I used to have AUD, yes, Euro GBP, Euro GBP. So I used to have AUD and NZD used to be my absolute favorite pairs to trade. Always were. They were my favorite pairs to trade until recently. So right now, and all of this stuff seemed to have happened since the war had started, where the market just had been in a constant flux of volatility. So it has somewhat normalized, but there's still a lot of volatility. And also, you throw in that I think Europe is having a presidential election, and of course, we're running into a presidential election. So, truth is, the markets are somewhat being manipulated, in my opinion, to make certain candidates look good and perform, and all these different things, and so forth and so forth. So, it's just not have been the best season of stability in the markets. But with these pairs, I find that if you're going to trade those with the ocean wave system, then stick with those. Okay, stick with those. They have a very good, strong trend, and it sticks to it even through news. And that's one of the things I look for. How smooth and consistent are you with your trend move? And also, how consistent are you during news events? Because that's very critical, especially now with all this stuff going on. The news events are what's killing a lot of trades. Like yesterday, out of the blue, and I just so happened to have been woke at that time last night, and out of the blue, all the JPY pairs just went nuts and crazy. And I double checked, triple checked. I said, was there any news? Was there anything going on? Nope, no news events, no nothing. Out of the blue. And it just went nuts, just went nuts, went nuts. So this is what's going on right now, you guys. It's very hard to predict certain things going on in the markets because of this high volatility. Now, excuse me, if you're brand new and don't know what volatility is simply it's going berserk. Okay. Untrustworthy, schizophrenic. Yeah. Yeah. See, yeah, Derek, I understand. Yeah, it's just not stable. The markets are not stable. Okay, it's not stable. Uh, so that's why another reason why the best strategy to do right now to survive is to make sure to reduce your lot size. Don't try to pass prop firms quickly or try to grow your account too fast. These are, and this is going to happen. All traders go through these seasons because this is what the market is doing. It's in the season of uncertainty. There's too much stuff going on. So as a result, it's just jerking around like crazy. And so that's going to happen. I think one of the biggest mistakes that traders make, we think that when we have a strategy or something, it's supposed to work like tires. You got them all weather tires. But even in all weather tires, have you ever seen all weather tires stuck in the snow? Yes. Ever seen tires stuck in the snow? They say it's all weather vehicle, all weather tires, but obviously somebody forgot to tell the tires that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sounded good. It was a good theory, but it didn't work in all weather. Why? Because when there was a massive snowstorm come through, then that all normally the all-weather tires will work perfectly fine under normal conditions. But when there's unpredictabilities or unusual circumstances, then all weather don't work in all weather. And you just have to weather the storm. And that's what's happening. I wish it would go back to normal like last year. I mean, yeah, last year was so much better than this year. There's a lot of chaos going on. It's like 2024. Just man, it's just hell going on left and right. It really is. And so, but it is what it is. Like I said, I'm managing several prop accounts and they're moving slowly. I have to go slower. That's all I can do. Just go slower. 50K accounts, 200K accounts, and all these different things. You just have to go slower. So that if things don't work out, okay, you only lost a small portion and you keep it moving. By the way, if you guys didn't watch my video that I put out the other day, please go back and watch it about that prop firm rules because you'll learn, okay, this is how you manage your money with a prop firm account so that you're not blowing it and you're not getting tripped up by their stupid rules. Okay. Because when you're borrowing other people's money, they have rules to their money. Just like if you go get a car loan or a house loan, they have a book of paperwork, especially a house, just like you have to sign a book worth of paperwork just to simply say, okay, here's, we're going to loan you this money and here's how we're going to pay it back. Okay. But there's all these other things in there just in case. Y'all feel me? Okay. So prop firms, if you want to borrow their money, that's fine. They're going to have some stipulation and rules. Why? Because you're using their money, not your own. So make sure that you read through what their rules are and go with the one that you feel the best comfortable. But with the strategy I put out in that YouTube video the other day, it will help you to manage and weather the storms regardless of whether you're using their money or your own, because it's going to be the same process. Okay. And what they're looking for more is consistency rather than fast money makers. Okay, which is where that other rule come from, which I didn't cover, but they have that consistency rule. I think it's the consistency rule where certain trades cannot go above a certain amount. So in other words, okay, you got a 10K account and you got to make 1,500 to pass the challenge and just roughly throwing out a number, right? So a person to go in and they luck up and get one trade and get the whole 1,500 in one trade. And they say, no, we're capping it off where each trade can't go above $1,000 or something like that. Why? Because they want you to see, can you weather all storms? Because we want to work with you long term. And so therefore, we don't want these fly by night traders who are gunslingers who luck up on one trade and then lose the other five because not because they couldn't manage the money, because they know you're going to lose some trades, but you don't know how to manage money. So they're more looking for money managers than they are traders who can just do one off here and there. Does that make sense? Type it in if that makes sense. And I think they realized that, which is why they were smart enough to, number one, take away those rules where a person had to, complete a challenge in 10 days or 15 days or 30 days or whatever, which by the way, there's another company that, you can trade futures and all the stuff on called Apex. And Apex got me stuck because, I wouldn't mind working with them. But the problem is they kept saying, well, you have this 1 day to pass challenge. Okay, you're giving a huge discount, but you're saying that a person has to pass like a $250,000 account if you want to get a $250,000 account. Oh yeah, we're giving discounts on this challenge. Yeah, but there's one big problem, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I keep asking and nobody's telling me different. You have a 1 day pass challenge. What the heck? On a $250,000 account? How am I not going to pass the challenge without over leveraging if you have a 1 day pass? So I reached out to him. I asked, what does this 1 day pass? No answers. Okay, no, I don't want to work with you. I don't want to work with you because you're forcing people to over leverage. There's just no way you're going to be able to not, you know what I mean? How you going to have offer a $250,000 account at a 90% discount? That's all sound good. But see, I've been in this game a little too long. And you threw out that 1 day pass. How's a person supposed to pass in 1 day? And then you already know they're going to have to retake. See what I'm saying? Yeah, I understand, Derek. Yeah, I don't see. So just know what they're offering and make sure you understand that. So when you're trading these things, you can really just take your time. The truth is, that's the only way you're going to pass prop firms is taking your time. Okay, take your time. Take your time. All right. Um, any questions for me today? Because like I said, I do have to go. Can't stay long because I'm got to take care of Nancy. She's not feeling too hot. And so I want to check on my baby girl and make sure she's okay. So if there's any questions, raise your hand. By the way, I had let's see. Yeah, let's just go to questions. Any questions for me today? Raise your hand quickly, and I'll be more than happy. And that person who had a question about which system to start with, if you want to raise your hand and ask me directly, maybe to make sure I understood your question, I'll be more than happy to do that. So if there's any hands for questions, please. Okay, I got one. Alex, go ahead and unmute.
Morning, Uncle Vic.
Good morning. Hi.
Good morning. I just had a question. It's about the trend surfer indicator that comes with simplicity.
Sure.
I notice on your on your videos you don't have it applied, and I'm just wondering why. Because I have it on my charts.
Yeah,
Just
simple and
wondering.
plain because sometimes when I have too much clutter on my chart, people get confused. So that's why I have a stripped down version of certain things when I'm doing it on for you guys as well as for others. So I just take certain things off so it won't be so confusing. That's all.
Okay, but overall, still an indicator that
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
like, that you approve of.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's just that certain things, like even on here, I don't have a lot of things on here to make sure that when I'm demonstrating things for you guys, that it's more smoother and less noisy, if that makes sense. So that's the reason why. So if I do sexy simple, which is what, see, now there's a lot of stuff on here. But to try to explain that to people, it kind of gets them confused. See what I'm saying?
I understand. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
All right. Just
So that's
wondering,
all.
Uncle.
All right,
Thank
cool,
you.
cool. I appreciate it. Good stuff. All right. Great question. All right, let's go to somebody else. All right, Zoom. Go ahead and unmute.
Okay, so that was me. Good morning, I'm sorry. So that
What's
was
your
me that asked the question about the sexy analyst because when I purchased everything, I did the Ocean Wave, Simplicity, and the
Mhm.
Love My Charts. And then when I went to cancel it, they said, well, ask Uncle Pete when you go to training because he uses it alongside of the Simplicity before you cancel.
Yeah,
And so that's why I asked the question because I just got the Simplicity installed yesterday. And then I
mhm.
was going, I mean, I don't even know how to use Simplicity yet. So do
Yeah.
I need to the sexy analyst right now before I learn how to use the other two systems.
Well, no, here's what you can do if you want. If you want to, as you can see, I never, if you go back through all of my classes, I absolutely never, ever, ever, ever trade midweek without sexy analysts. I just absolutely not. That this is a must system for me because what it does, it gives me, as like you can see right here on the US 30, which by the way, this was a great trade right here. Amazing trade. And as you can see, the arrow came in right beforehand on the 1 hour, or you could have seen it on the 30. Okay. So basically the simplicity system, it gives you your zones. And let me go over that real quick. So let's go to sexy simple because I call it sexy simple when I combine everything together. All right. So you can see that it gave me this green buy zone. Do you see that? Go ahead and unmute again, please.
Okay.
Okay. So you see this green buy zone?
Mm-hmm.
Confirmation number one. Okay. But you see this little gray box right here, which you can change the colors to whatever you want inside sexy.
Okay.
All right. So watch this. Inside sexy, see, it gives you everything that everybody else on all these videos be telling you have to use to mark up charts. They say, okay, they talk about supply and demand zones. It's built in. Support and resistance levels. It's built in. They talk about trend lines. Well, we put in, because I actually paid for a class, $500 for a trend line class, believe it or not. And the professionals they use was called outer and inner trend lines. So we have that built in as well, which by the way, we added a unique feature to our inner trend lines, which I don't have on the charts. All I have to do is click here and say, yes, I want the text information on here. Now, what that's going to do for those more advanced in certain pairs, let me see if I can find a pair. All right. See how noisy it is to Alex. That's what I was saying. See, this is why I take it off and I keep it simple. Let's go to this right here, just to get the noise out so it won't be so noisy on the charts. All right, so I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna add in my inner trend lines as well. Because some professionals, that's what they do. Because they say the outer trend lines is the main, as you can see, you see the outer, these little fingers right here. That's the overall thing. This is the big kahuna, okay? This is from the daily. So you can see from here, this is the range from the daily. This is your outer trend lines. But then you have your inner trend lines, which is what a lot of professional traders use because it scales and breaks it down to the smaller time frames. And you can see this is what it's respecting on the inside. Okay. You see that?
Okay. Uh-huh.
Here's the outer trend line bouncing down, saying overall this is heading down. Are they correct? Yes, they are correct because every time it comes up to this main line, what does it do? It collapses, right? But inside of that, there's still price action happening where it's triple topped right here. So it's built in. It's already pre-built in. So a lot of the things, the tools that's out there, and there's many more because it also comes with two scanners. One is a trend line scanner. So let's say, for an example, every time on the daily or on the 4 hour, if price action touches one of these trend lines, and let me go back to just simplifying this for you so it won't be so confusing. So let's say when price action touched right here on this outer trend line, okay, there's a scanner that comes with it that'll send you an alert. So you can say, oh, it didn't touch the outer trend line. Let me check it and see. And then you would have known, okay, looking at this is a downtrend. And look at this setup, everything, look at the arrow, everything's telling you what?
It's going down.
And did it go down?
Yes.
Very, very big. Okay. So the point is that it's up to you. You can continue with it or cancel it until you get to study the rest of them. It's totally up to you. But for midweek, I don't trade without the sexy analyst. And what I mean by midweek, if you're going to trade outside of the pairs that I share with you, which tend to hold their trend even through the middle of the week, because let me give it to you like this. There's two halves in the week. Just split the week in half. So a lot of times what happens is primarily this is the primary rhythm of the market. Now, again, it's been an imbalance. So, it's kind of up in the air now. But for the most part, the market has always worked this way. The beginning of the week, it stays in the trend. Second half of the week, it gets into a reversal pattern. Okay. Did that make?
Yes.
Okay. First half of the week, that's the reason why I stick with Ocean Wave. Second, every time I violate that, I get my hands tapped because the market stays in that trend. Even if you see a good setup like I did this week, I was like, okay, they must be, because I know there was some imbalance. Maybe they just not going to respect it. I got my hand tapped because guess what? They respected the trend. And so it broke through all support and resistance levels. It does not even care at the beginning of the week. It just plows right through it. Okay. Especially Sunday going into Monday. So trend trades only with the system, regardless of with the Ocean Wave, if you have it. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
right. Any other questions about? Okay. Any other questions? I'll make sure I'm covering everything for you. Okay. I guess you had to go. All right, cool. If that makes sense to everybody else, type a 10 in the box. I want to make sure you guys understand that. Now, as you can see, the pairs that I called out from the here, they typically don't respect any of that stuff. They just will plow right on through. Okay. So the Swiss pairs, JPY pairs, AUD and ZDs, those are the ones that they just run in a straight line, basically from the Ocean Wave. You can see them here where it kind of jiggles. But if you put these pairs on Ocean Wave, you'll see they just run straight on through. Okay. Straight through, straight up and straight down. Okay. See? Little hiccups here, but they'll get right back in line. And you can really check them from the 1 hour. Just see their consistency. Okay. And what you want to do is, if you want to back test, just put it on the 1 hour and just slide it on back and see. When they said it's time to go up, this is AUD and ZD. And this is going all the way back to February. Okay. So this is a very, very consistent pair. Okay. When it turned blue, neutral zone, that means change of direction. So you would be out of the trade, period. So this long move to happen here, when it turns blue, you get out. Okay. Then when it turns yellow, it went down a little bit and it went neutral. So you got a few pips out of that. But that was telling you this change of direction. So it was just sideways market. That's all this was. Okay. So you really didn't win or lose anything. It was just a choppy sideways market. Okay. And you want to always follow what this is telling you, because this will tell you. Okay. So if this ain't confirming and this ain't confirming, then just leave it alone. Sideways market is preparing for a change of direction. And did it? Yep, it sure did. Went back up again. Get out on the blue. Change of direction. And then you had this massive drop. Okay. Which is still happening now. And this drop has been running smooth on the 1 hour time frame since May 15th. So since May 15th until June 5th, you could have been in one trade this whole time. And this pair moves slow, but slow money is good money to me. Okay. All right. Okay, go ahead and unmute. We walk by faith. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hello, how you doing, Uncle P?
How are you?
I'm good. I have a quick question.
Okay.
I wanna get your product, but the thing is, I'm trying to figure out another broker to use, and I don't know anyone that I can use on the MT4. And
yeah. Shoot me an email and I'll send you a list of a few that I know that we use. Shoot me an
okay,
email.
I'm in the US, so
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Yeah.
What's your email? I don't think I have your email. Is it in the
Yeah, I'll type it for you. Look in the
Thank
chat. Mm-hmm.
That's my question. I appreciate it.
Now, here's something else, by the way. Right now, you guys are seeing me in the US, but I have my VPN, my VPN, virtual private network, master IP address. I'm actually in Zurich, Switzerland. Zurich, Switzerland. And because of that, that opens up a whole bunch of doors for you to sign up with brokers outside of the US that still uses the MT4 and MT5. What happens is that when you go to these websites, they'll actually check your IP address first. And then a message will pop up and say, oh, we don't service in your country. How do they know what country you're in? Because they're tracking your IP address. So if you match your IP address to Zurich, Switzerland, or something like that, a very exotic place, or Dubai or somewhere like that, but Zurich, Switzerland to work, then yeah, that opens up the door for many, many companies that still, long as they don't have what's called the KYC, know your customer, where you have to provide them with an ID or something like that. But any broker that doesn't require that KYC and they're outside of the US and they still use the MT4 and MT5, the world is open to you now. So you're not limited to just being in the US by simply masking your IP address. Simple as that.
Okay. And it's still, you still will be able to withdraw and everything?
Yeah, because they don't care. They don't care. It's the same thing. Yeah, but I will still send you a list of. Did you get that email?
I'm checking now. Did you send it to me privately or the main?
Yeah, in the chat. superezforex@gmail.com. It's just superezforex@gmail.com.
Super easy. Okay. All right. superezforex@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And I'll send you the list of a bunch of U.S. brokers that are still operating that we work with. Now, again, I'm not breaking the broker recommendations. I'm just telling you the ones we fool with. Okay.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Have a good one.
You as
All
well.
right. Cool. Is there anybody else? I have a quick question before I go. Any other questions? Charts, markups, setups, anything else before we go? Going once? Some of y'all just like hearing my voice. Well, let me share this with you guys. I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and I'll leave you with this. I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and some of you guys who come early, we listen to Dr. Miles Monroe. And today, he was talking about a very powerful message on manhood. And he's absolutely correct. If a man doesn't have legitimate work or source of income, he doesn't feel worthy. Okay. He doesn't feel worthy of himself. And so men deal with depression, which to women, it comes out as anger. Okay. So when you say a man has a lot of anger issues, realistically, he's not happy with himself, but he doesn't know how to express it. So he implodes and then he explodes. Okay. But two thoughts that hit to my head. Women say all the time, I can't find a good man. Women, would you agree? It's hard to find a good man. And the ladies in the house, kind of tough to find a good guy. Okay. Donna say yes. Yeah. Okay. Right. Here's the deal. Me and Nancy were talking about this very subject the other day, and I told her, I said, babe, you want to know why it's hard to find a good man nowadays? I said, because we haven't raised a replacement generation of good men. So back in the day, some men, and there was abuse and stuff going on, but there was a lot of responsible men who knew how to take care of their families. They would work hard, put food on the table, pay the bills and everything else to make sure their family survived. They were responsible men. Okay, they had their issues, some of them were alcoholics, whatever. I'm not trying to pick on the bad fruits, but there was a lot of responsible men who understood the role of a man was to provide for his family. Okay. Uh, which goes back to if a man don't work, neither should he eat. So that man was working hard to make sure that his family ate, and he was being responsible. He wasn't a perfect man, but he was a responsible man. Okay. But the problem is nowadays we haven't raised the next generation of responsible young men. And as a result of that, we have men, but they didn't learn how to be responsible men. Type of 20, if that makes sense to you guys. Okay. And I told her that is the problem. What we changed is we changed the dynamics of how, and this doesn't apply for all, but for the most part, if you look around in your society, the next generation of young men are taught how to receive and not how to labor. They taught they can whine and get whatever they want, but they don't have to do much for it. And now this is the mindset of the generation of kids that we have nowadays. And then we thrust them into adulthood, and now they can't function. They can't function. Okay. Because they're not taught responsibility. Even if it's as simple as, okay, you're required to take out this trash at this time. No, you're not going to get this. You're not going to get that. Here's the things I'm expecting. They have to be trained. I don't know if you guys saw the movie 300. That's one of my favorite movies, 300, where they train them into responsibility ever since they were little. So as they were growing up, they knew what their role was. They knew they were protectors. They were supposed to be the providers. They were supposed to be this, that. They knew that. And in my house, that's what my dad portrayed. I have 4 brothers and 4 sisters. There's 9 of us. No twins, all by the same mom and daddy. Okay. 9 of us. Grew up in that house. And that man, I still remember him. He wasn't there all the time, but I do remember that he was doing military on the weekend, and he worked at that post office for many 45 years. And he kept 2 jobs going. And then the man also was selling cookies on the side. I remember he would take us to the farm to go get beans from the field, and he would buy it in bulk, and we'd come home and turn on TV and pop and peel beans and the peas and peel them out from the thing, and he would go bid on a whole steer and a whole on a whole hog and have them cut up and sliced up. I never saw that part. Thank God I didn't see it. Probably would traumatize me to this day, and I'll probably be a vegetarian if I seen that, because I can't pick out an actual cow, look them in the eye, and say, okay, you're gonna be the one that's gonna be served to my family. So I didn't get that far. But the point is that I seen him be responsible. And I still remember to this day, one of the biggest things I remember about my dad, he was an excellent saver. So he was always prepared for rainy days, which I still learned to do that too. Have I water? Guess what? I got something put away. So I remember one time he wanted to buy another car, and the man sat there and bought a whole, and this is back in the day, but he bought a used Cadillac, one of them big body Cadillacs, some old school caddies, banana yellow. I still remember it. He bought a whole Cadillac with quarters. Did you hear what I said? He bought a whole car with quarters. He saved enough money to buy an entire car with quarters. He was saving them coins. Every time he had change left over, he would teach us about, yes, I'll get to your hand real quick. But he would teach us to roll them up in them little paper things. See, responsibility. So he passed that knowledge on to us. In fact, when I got into real estate, it was because of him. And the funny thing is, he wanted to do it, but he wasn't able to do it. So I would go with him, and I would see him picking out houses and explaining why he wanted to buy this house and buy this property and this and that. And he was never able to do it. But when I got old enough, out of all my brothers and sisters, I was the one who actually got involved with it. And then when he retired, I took him back to his original dream, and me and him, we went to Las Vegas and bought some properties, and then we went to other states and we bought property. I took him back to the original dream that he taught me when I was a little boy about investment in real estate. Okay, but he had to wait until he was retired and didn't have the 9 mouths to feed. But by that time, I had taken his advice, got it, and was doing very well in it, and took him back. And I said, Dad, let's go ahead and start looking at some things. And so that's what we did. And then in one state, I had built me a 7,000 square foot house from blueprint to finish. Never went to school for it, but yes, I know how to design a house from blueprint to finish. And then he had his house, and I helped him design his house. He had a 5,000 square foot house around the corner from me. My dad stayed 5 minutes around the corner from me, and he stayed in a 5,000 square foot house after his retirement. Are you guys understanding me? That is teaching the next generation responsibility. No, you can't have everything you want. I don't give a crap about you whining and crying. You're not going to get it. Here's what you need to know. I'm giving you what you need to know for tomorrow, not what you want for today. Okay. So that's why, in my opinion, it's tough to find good guys. Tough. It's really tough, because we're not training the next generation to be husbands. We're training them to be spoiled brats. Okay. I remember when my sons was growing up, and they thought I was being mean. No, you're going to get up and you're going to start working out in the gym. I had a gym in the house. No, you get up 6 a.m. Yeah, but I got football practice in a couple hours. I don't care. That's your coach. All right. What they got to do with me? And turns out each of my sons turned out to be the best players on the teams at every school they went to. The other thing is, and this is something else, side note, and Yeah, it was a lot of quarters. My dad was a beast. He was good at what he did. The other thing I was thinking about is right now we have, and I agree with him, when a man feels lost, it's hard for a woman to follow a lost man. And he keeps demanding loyalty to his lostness. So, man, if you're struggling with your identity and you're struggling with, getting on your feet and finding out what is your actual gift and things like that, well, don't demand her to follow that. You understand what I'm saying? That's demanding loyalty to foolishness. And a lot of men do that. They just want loyal people. Loyal to what? Where are we going? What are we doing? And you wonder why she wanted to just take over the wheel, and that's part of the reason why. Okay, that's part of the reason why. So you don't have to be an authoritarian. You just have to be a good leader to yourself first, and then lead your family. And then who wouldn't want to follow a good leader? Okay. The word charismatic. Just a side note. The word charisma. That's where we get the word charismatic. It means in an old term, and I think it was from the Greeks. It's an old word from the Greeks, and it means gifts of the gods. Gifts of the gods. They back then they thought, okay, if a person had charisma, they had a gift from God. And the truth is, they were partially right. Each one of us are born here with a gift, but it takes time to find that gift and then to nurture it. And you'll find this gift pretty easy, because just ask yourself, why do people when people come to seek you out or call you up or anything, of any worth, what do they call you about? And you'll find out people will typically come and ask you a certain question, okay, all the time. And it's always the same thing. And that'll give you a clue, okay, maybe I'm good at this, okay? But either way it goes, you just need to find your footing, okay? And once you find your footing, you'll find your confidence. And from there, everything will be okay. One last piece on this, and then I'll take the hand. I think there was one more hand, and then we'll go. But I was thinking about this. Have you guys heard of the term competing interests? Type a yes if you ever heard that term, competing interests. Competing interests. Okay. Competing interests is simply this. In the beginning, God said, okay, I'm going to make a man, and I'm going to give him responsibility to till the ground and work the fields. And then he created Eve afterwards. And he said, I'm going to create a help meet. The word help meet means a helper. Okay. I'm going to create Adam. I'm going to give him a responsibility. Notice what God did. He didn't give him spoiledness. He gave him responsibility. So he gave Adam responsibility, and then he created a helpmeet, a companion to help with the work that needed to be done. So nowadays, what's different is we hear the term teamwork makes the dream work. Have you everybody heard of that? Type of yes if you heard of that term. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, very common statement. Here's what I have found. I have found teamwork makes the dream work at a job, but not at home. I find that quite interesting. You can't find people who will debate and say, yeah, teamwork doesn't make the dream work. Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. It does. But if teamwork makes the dream work, why do you guys have competing interests in the home? You understand what I'm saying? And then you wonder why there's so much chaos going on. Well, because he's trying to do this, she's trying to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because in fact, in our house, I trade and and stuff like that, but Nancy doesn't. She does something completely different. I've done a lot of things as an entrepreneur, and I went to school for many different subjects, but she's the one, if you go into her office right over there, you see she has degrees on the wall. She's a very smart woman. She has degrees displayed on the wall. I don't have any. I have decorations on the wall and the TV, but I don't have degrees. We do separate things, but we don't compete against each other. And that's what the problem is. In a lot of households, it's like a competition nowadays. Everybody's competing and demanding loyalty to their competition. So I've just made you my competition, but I expect you to be loyal to my side. What do you think is going to happen? And each one is demanding loyalty to this. And no one is looking at okay, I can have separate interests, but I don't have to. Watch this. You can have separate interests, but you don't have to compete against each other. I don't compete with her and she don't compete with me. Sometimes when I'm done and I ain't got nothing else to do, I'm just twiddling my thumbs. I miss her because she's busy. She's very high demand. I mean, she's very, very into high demand. And so she'd be in her office now, and thank God she's working at home, so I get to see her. But when she's working, man, she's busy. She's getting hit up by a lot of people. And you know what I do? I walk into her office. I say, "Babe, do you need some orange juice? Babe, do you want me to bring you some water? Do you want me to rinse you off some fruit?" You see what I'm saying? It's not a competition. Well, see, you should be serving. And no, 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 no. It don't work that way. Because whatever she's called to do, she's called to do. She's got charisma. She has a gift from God just like I do. But her gift ain't the same as mine. But it doesn't mean we have to compete to see who's better in the home, creating unnecessary conflict. For an example, y'all didn't hear, but look, you know what's in here? Ice water. Every time I come to this class, she makes me ice water and she asks me, "Hey, is there something I can make you to put on your stomach? You want something to eat real quick? You want a hash brown or something to put on your stomach?" And she brings in my ice water because I don't drink warm water. It makes me nauseous. Ice water only. So we don't compete. And then when we're done helping each other, then we're going back to our own little nest of our own little thing. And it makes for interesting conversation because when it's time to discuss things, she tells me about her day, which is completely different from mine. I really don't have much to say. So, I'm like, yeah, how was class? It was cool. It was, not much. She's more busy than me. But the point is that we don't have to compete. So we're not at each other's throat. That's the reason why we haven't had a good knockdown argument in probably 7 years, I think was the last time we had an argument. And we've been married for 10. So after year 3, I think it was just not necessary. We got used to learning each other, got adjusted. And then I was like, this woman is cool. And I told her the other day, she still fascinates me. She really fascinates me. So I'm fascinated by watching her operating her gift. But then she tells me the same thing about me. Y'all, does this make sense to y'all? Type of 400 if that makes sense to you guys. You can have separate interests, but it doesn't have to be, watch this term, competing interests. And that's what we have today. We have a society full of competing interest people living in the same home, trying to make the other person prioritize their term of living, their way of seeing the world and everything else. And if you don't see it, you're going to be punished. There's going to be a consequence, either from him or from her or from both. And they're spending all their time arguing and debating and fussing instead of working as a dream team. And if you ever look at sports, which is coming up, the Olympics is coming up, and you look at the dream team, such as in basketball, okay, you got one person who's a center, one person who's a power forward, one person who's a guard. On a basketball team, you have these different roles. But when they work together, doing their part, they succeed, and that's what makes the dream team. So why keep arguing over whether what you're doing is better than the other person? No, you separate gifts. Drop the word competing out of your conversation, and then you guys will do a whole lot better. We have separate interests, but there don't have to be competition between us. I'll support you and yours, and let me know if there's anything I can do to support you. And vice versa. Is there anything I can do to support you? Because in the end, your gift and my gift combined, they may be separate. We can still win. And then the children see this. And the children will see it. And they'll learn, oh, this is what it looks like. And they'll learn to see two responsible people being responsible. Is everybody understanding what I'm saying? That's my thoughts on what he was talking about. I had some thoughts on that. Okay. Yeah, we serve each other. That's why, and I'm running over and I'm about to end it, but You know, I just want to share my thoughts. Yeah. So my baby girl, she ain't feeling too hot. Okay, guess what? My interest in wanting to do this, that's fine, but it's going to have to stop for the remainder of the day because she's number one. She's first. She's my number one interest. Everything else is interchangeable. She's my number one interest. She's my priority, and I'm hers, and we're happy. Okay. All right. Any other hand? And if not, I'm going. Thank you guys for letting me ramble. But just think about this, ladies. Here's a question. When I used to have my talk show, and I'll leave you with this last thought. Nancy and I used to have a talk show before our channel got hacked, and we had thousands of people who used to follow us. Thousands. Had a quarter million followers on Facebook, and other people from other channels used to follow our work. We used to do a Sunday talk show, me and Nancy, before our page got hacked several years ago. It broke my heart because we was reaching a lot of people, helping a lot of people. One of the things that I would ask them, because women, and 90% of our audience was women. I was trying to get more guys, but the truth is a lot of men don't think they need help. So 90% of our audience were women. And so women would ask about, about the kids and this and that. And I would say, all right, well, ask one question to yourself. Are you raising, if you had to marry your son today, now I know there's extenuating circumstances to each situation, so don't. If you have extenuating circumstances, this doesn't apply to you. But on the general level, here's what we're at. Here's what I used to tell them all the time. You want a better generation of men. Here's how. I said, if you had to marry your son today, would you? And most of the women said, heck no. I said, well, why not? And they would go on to say, oh, he's this man. I said, well, okay, well, then raise him to be a husband, even from a little age. Teach him how to be responsible as a husband, because one day he's going to be somebody's husband. I know he's cute little Pookie, but he's the spoiled, demanding Pookie. You understand? And once he gets older, he's going to be that same personality to some woman. And now she's going to be complaining and talking about, I can't find a good man. Y'all understand that? So raise him to be a husband. Teach him what the responsibilities of a husband is. Whatever you expect out of a husband, teach it to him so that he'll become part of the next generation of real men who are prepared to be husbands. Because if we don't put it into them, when they get older, there's a scripture in the Bible says, bring up a child in the way that they should go. Notice the word should go. Train up a child in the way that they should go. For when they get older, it will not depart from them. In other words, whatever you train them in, the knowledge you put into them, it won't leave them. But if you put nothing in, you get nothing out. Did you hear what I said? If you put nothing in, you get nothing out. Am I being clear? If you put no instruction into him on what it is to be a husband, prepare them to be a husband so that the next generation, whoever's going to get my son, is going to get a good man. You feel me? I was concerned about my son, PJ. He was a wild one. Wow. He was wild. Y'all met my son, PJ, my younger son. Yeah, my younger. He was wild. But I had to stay the course the whole time. Had to stay the course. Had to stay the course. Now, guess what? I'm waiting any day now for a phone call from him and his wife, who he's been married to for about 5 or 6 years. Because after all this time, they're about to have their first baby. So I got to fly out of here at any given moment. So I'm just waiting because it's this month, but we don't know exactly when. So I got to fly out to go visit, to go see the birth of my grandchild by PJ, the wild one. But now he's a husband. He married into a Hispanic family. He adopted to their culture. And in their culture, they're very family oriented and structured and responsible, but he was prepared for that role. So he fit right in with them. Because I prepared him, I stayed on his behind, even when he was wilding out. My other son, he called me the other day. He said, Dad, I thank you for being in my life. And that really touched me. My oldest son. And he's down there and he has two of my grandkids, a grandson and granddaughter. He said, Dad, thank you for being in my life. Appreciate the things you taught me. When I used to do real estate, yeah, I used to hire contractors sometimes, but sometimes I would take my little kids down there, 8 years old, and they was pulling up carpet, tearing down sheetrock, learning how to put up cabinets. You want to eat? You're going to help me with this work because I'm not going to always hire contractors. I'm going to teach you how to do real estate. This is what real estate looks like. A tenant moves out. Okay, get a paintbrush. You're going to learn how to paint a wall. You ain't got to paint it perfect, but you're going to need to know what your daddy does to earn a living so that you can learn this is what it takes. And sometimes the distance of the property to beat traffic, we had to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning sometimes. And then we'd be there until nighttime working on them properties. Other people say that's kind of child abuse because you got your kids working that young and that late. We'll call it child abuse, but guess what? They learn responsibility and they call me now, still thanking me. See, I prepared them. I wanted to prepare them like my dad prepared me. Everybody clear on what I'm saying? I know this ain't trading, this ain't charts, but just my thoughts on that. I wanted to prepare so that whoever gets my kids will get something good. Now, they still have their flaws. They're still working through things. They still have their flaws. They're human. Okay. They're not perfect. None of us are. But at least I put something into them to know what, like I talked to my son the other day, my oldest son, and he was at work. He said, Hey, son, what you going to do when you get off work? He said, Oh, I'm going to go get my kids. No, he said, I'm going to go see my kids. That was his number one thing. He wants to go home to go see his kids after he get off work. Ain't that beautiful? He didn't say, I'm going to go get me a drink. I'm going to go hang with the boys. No, he said, Oh, I can't wait to go see my kids. See? Because I couldn't wait to go see them. And they were kids. Everybody clear. If this was helpful, type of 400 in the box. And then we're done. We're out of here. I gotta go. I'm just sharing thoughts. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you very much for letting me talk to you today and have a blessed afternoon.